Hello, welcome everyone. Happy Friday. It's another great day, another busy day, I was gonna say. Glad to be back here doing the stream. Got an exciting topic today. Going to be talking about 3 secrets of the rich. So these are things that I've learned in my practice as I've met with lots of families over the years, and those families that have been able to hold on to their money and to really prosper, these are some of the concepts that they understand. So that's what I want to talk about today. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. So I kind of went for it today a little bit more with the thumbnail, more of a YouTube style thumbnail. So my name is Rilus Dana. I'm an attorney. This is where I practice in Arizona and Southern California at Dana and Associates. And then you'll see in the corner Mott Legal. That's our consulting company. It provides our estate planning documents and our software. And we're now offering a coaching a membership program through Mott Legal. So attorneys, if you're interested in starting an estate planning practice, or if you're interested in improving your estate planning practice, that's what the membership is for through Mott Legal. Okay, so here's the topic today: 3 secrets of the rich. And they are, the first one, limited liability. This is something that the rich understand. Hopefully it sounds okay there. Let me make sure I get close to the microphone. Okay, second thing we're going to talk about is control versus ownership, something the rich understand. So which is better there, control or ownership? We're going to see what the answer is there. And then estate, inside of your estate versus outside of your estate. Kind of an advanced topic, so we're going to talk about that. Okay, before we talk about limited liability, let's contrast that with unlimited liability. So here's our friend Mr. Estate. He owns a few houses, a few bank accounts, and life's good until it's not. Until there's an injury on one of his rental properties. Then crap, what happens? So someone got hurt on one of his houses. How much of his assets are at risk? So in this case, since he owns the house individually, all of his assets are at risk. So that's unlimited liability. So the rich understand that you want limited liability. So here's an example of that. So by owning rental property in a limited liability company, an LLC, this helps protect if there's an injury. So if there's an injury on this property here, so I have an injury created, liability, whatever the liability might be, a lawsuit, could be an injury, then what's at risk in this situation? Only the assets inside of that LLC. So this is an example of limited liability. Limited liability companies allow you to separate the risk. So if the risk incurs in this property, if there's a liability created, these other assets, these other houses and bank accounts are not at risk. So that's limited liability. Control versus ownership. Let's talk about that. So this is showing that the Dynasty Trust. This is a good example to show control versus ownership. So the Dynasty Trust is a type of subtrust. So the submarine for a subtrust, meaning that it's created in another trust. So this example here, the original trust creators, they pass away, and for their kids, they create a Dynasty Trust. So control versus ownership. So we got our trustee hat. That's the person that has control, the trustee, the person that manages the assets in the trust. So that's where the control is. The beneficiary is who receives it, but the ownership, so the assets are technically owned by this trust. It's a separate entity from the beneficiary who receives from it, and it's separate from the person who manages it, the trustee. Now, the way we design Dynasty Trust is that eventually we let the beneficiaries become the trustee to have control over it. So this example here, age 35, the child can become the trustee. So they'll get control over the assets at that point. So this example, so control. So once he's wearing that trustee hat, So the beneficiary, he's entitled to receive the assets from the trust as a beneficiary. He controls them as a trustee, but he does not own the assets inside of here. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing because we're going to show you in the next example, which is the estate, they're not going to be taxed again, which is one good thing, not subject to the estate tax. And then if there was any type of liability created in his name, these assets over here, they're not at risk because he doesn't own them. Okay, estate. So estate planning. So an estate refers to everything a person owns, whether alive or dead. So this Dynasty Trust, so here's Junior here. He's received his inheritance inside of a trust. He's become the trustee, so he manages it. He has the control over it, but not the ownership. Now, the assets over here inside of the trust, they're outside of his estate, we would say. They're owned by this Dynasty Trust, so he does not have the ownership of them. If this trust, so he takes his inheritance and buys more real estate, if he buys it in the name of this trust, it's still outside of his estate, meaning that everything in here passes free of the estate tax. So more bank accounts, more houses. Now, this house over here is inside Junior's estate. He owns it individually. So it's inside of his estate, meaning that if there was a liability, if someone had a judgment against him, this is an asset that he owns. So it could be taken due to a judgment. Assets over here, they're outside of his estate, outside of his control. I mean, technically he controls them as the trustee, but he does not own them. So it's separate from his estate. So these houses in his estate, they're all at risk. So at risk, if he gets into a car accident and someone sues him, they could take these assets in a judgment. Now, these assets over here, when he passes away, when Junior passes away, they'll be part of his estate and subject to the estate tax. Now, there hasn't been a whole lot of concern about the estate tax of late because the exemption is currently $10 million. It's actually more than that. It's adjusted for inflation, meaning that if his estate is under $10 million, there's no estate tax. But let's say, just for fun, let's say that this is a total of $25 million over here. So if this is $25 million over here, then everything over 10 million would be subject to the estate tax. Now, if all of the 25 million is inside of this this Dynasty Trust, if it grows to 50 million or 100 million, it doesn't matter what these assets grow to because they transfer free of the estate tax. They're already outside of his estate. They've already cleared the hurdle of the estate tax, and they can continue to pass to the next generation's estate tax free. Privacy, here's another bonus tip. The rich enjoy their privacy. It's with asset protection, there's no one thing to it. There's no one magical tool that you use to achieve protection. It's about creating layers. So staying anonymous is a way to protect yourself. So the privacy trust, it's used together with LLCs. So it's a trust where it has a generic private name, and then together with address service, you can keep the actual name of your trust and your name off of the public record. And then that's how you achieve anonymous status. All right, so that's it for today. Kind of a quick thing today. Hope you enjoyed it. If there's any topics you want to hear about, let us know. Leave a question in the comments. Leave any comments, any feedback. Hopefully the sound's better this time. I know that's some of the feedback before. Anything else you'd like to hear about, let us know. There's our number down there below for our law firm if you're interested in setting up your own plan. And then attorneys, also send me an email. Let us know if you're interested in the membership program, if you're interested in using our software and the techniques that we've developed. So thanks everyone. We'll see you next week.